Friday, August 25th, 2023. Topic: Boris Nemtsov. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this entirely AI-generated video.
This text provides a brief overview of the early life, education, and scientific career of Russian physicist and politician Boris Nemtsov. Boris Nemtsov, born in Sochi in 1959, was raised in Gorky by his Jewish mother, a physician, after his parents divorced when he was 5. Despite his Jewish heritage, Nemtsov was baptized as an infant by his Russian Orthodox paternal grandmother and later became a practicing Orthodox Christian. He discovered his baptism many years later. Boris Nemtsov, a Russian physicist and politician, studied physics at State University of Gorky from 1976 to 1981, earning a PhD in physics and mathematics in 1985. He worked as a research fellow at the Radiophysical Research Institute until 1990, publishing over 60 academic papers on quantum physics, thermodynamics, and acoustics. He also proposed a theoretical model for an acoustic laser and a new design for space probe antennas. Boris Nemtsov, a Russian physicist and liberal politician, was known for his reformist stance in opposition to nuclear power following the Chernobyl disaster. He served in the Russian parliament, where he worked on agricultural reform and foreign trade liberalization. He was appointed governor of Nizhny Novgorod Oblast by Boris Yeltsin in 1991, where he implemented free market reforms. In 1997, he was appointed first deputy prime minister of Russia. Responsible for energy sector reform, he was considered a potential presidential candidate in 2000. Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov co-founded Committee 2008 Inches in 2004, warning of a potential Putin dictatorship. He was appointed director of Neftyanoy Bank and chairman of Neftyanoy Concern, but stepped down following allegations of fraud. He supported Viktor Yushchenko in the 2004 Ukrainian presidential elections and was appointed as an economic advisor. Nemtsov withdrew his candidacy for the 2008 Russian presidency, co-founded political opposition movement Solidarnost, and announced his run for mayor of Sochi in 2009. He criticized the decision to hold the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi. A Russian opposition figure, Boris Nemtsov, was arrested multiple times for protesting against President Putin's government. In 2010, he was sentenced to 15 days in jail for participating in a rally against government restrictions on public protests. His arrests were condemned by U.S. senators and Amnesty International. Nemtsov described his imprisonment conditions as substandard and filed a complaint with the European Court of Human Rights. He was also arrested during the 2011 protests in Moscow. Boris Nemtsov, a prominent Russian opposition leader, was a vocal critic of President Vladimir Putin, accusing him of imposing censorship, removing democratic elections, and associating with oligarchs. Nemtsov also condemned the annexation of Crimea by Russia, viewing it as an illegal act. He was among the few Russian statesmen to publicly oppose Putin's government and its policies. Less than 3 weeks before his murder, Russian opposition politician Boris Nemtsov expressed fears that President Putin would kill him. He also mentioned concerns for oligarch Mikhail Khodorkovsky and anti-corruption activist Alexei Navalny. 2 weeks prior to his assassination, Nemtsov met with Yevgenia Albats, editor of the New Times magazine, to discuss his research into Putin's role in the Ukraine conflict, during which he expressed fear of being killed. Russian opposition politician Boris Nemtsov was shot dead near the Kremlin in Moscow on the 27th of February 2015. Just days before he was due to lead a peace rally against Russia's involvement in the Ukraine war and the country's financial crisis. Following his murder, police confiscated his papers, writings, and computer hard drives during a search of his apartment. Russian journalist Ksenia Sobchak has revealed that Boris Nemtsov was preparing a report proving the presence of Russian military in eastern Ukraine, despite official denials. The report, which Nemtsov planned to call Putin and the War, focused on Russia's role in the Ukraine conflict. Following Nemtsov's murder, several theories have circulated, with some accusing Russian security services of responsibility. However, Nemtsov's ally, Ilya Yashin, claimed that Chechnya's leader Ramzan Kadyrov was behind the assassination. The U.S. House of Representatives passed bills in 2019 to hold Russian President Vladimir Putin accountable for his country's actions, including the alleged cover-up of the 2015 assassination of political opponent Boris Nemtsov. In 2023, the European Court of Human Rights ruled that the Russian authorities' investigation into the assassination was inadequate and ineffective, violating the right to life. 5 Chechen men have been found guilty of the murder of Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov, including a former officer in the security force of Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov. The men were reportedly paid 15 million rubles, $253,000, to carry out the assassination. The identity and location of the person who hired them remains unknown. A memorial rally was held in Moscow on the 1st of March, the date Boris Nemtsov had planned to lead an opposition march. Mourners carried signs such as, "He was fighting for a free Russia and he died for the future of Russia." In August 2015, Nemtsov's daughter, Zhana Nemtsova, received Poland's Solidarity Prize for her father's work. In October 2015, a monument was erected at his tomb. A peaceful protest and plaque dedication are planned in Nizhny Novgorod in late February 2017. The individual has received numerous awards for their service to the state and contributions to nation building, including the Medal of the Order for Merit to the Fatherland, Second Class, the Medal for Strengthening of Brotherhood in Arms, the Order of Holy Prince Daniel of Moscow, the Honorary Sign of the Legislative Assembly of Nizhny Novgorod Region, Merit, the Order of Prince Yaroslav the Wise, 5th Class, the Order of Liberty, the Jan Karski Eagle Prize, and the IRI Freedom Award. Boris Nemtsov, a critic of Putin's government, published several white papers with Vladimir Milov proposing alternative development paths for Russia. These papers criticized Putin's administration for corruption, abuse of power, and embezzlement of funds. At the time of his murder, Nemtsov was preparing a report proving the presence of Russian military in eastern Ukraine. This report, titled Putin War, was published posthumously in May 2015. 3 documentary films were made about Russian political activist Boris Nemtsov. In 2015, Zosha Rodkovich released My Friend Boris Nemtsov. In 2016, Vladimir V. Kara-Murza released Nemtsov, and Mikhail Fishman and Vera Krichevskaya released The Man Who Was Too Free. John B. Dunlop's book explores the 2015 assassination of Russian politician Boris Nemtsov, detailing the flawed trial of his alleged killers. The book provides an in-depth analysis of what is referred to as Russia's crime of the 21st century. Nemtsov's scientific prowess was matched only by his political acumen, making him a unique figure in Russian history. His legacy continues to inspire and intrigue,